Hey, what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're continuing my 2021 year-end top 10s as I finish up the 175-pound light heavyweight division with my #1 light heavyweight in the world right now, the undefeated, reigning, unified champion, Artur Beterbiev. Beterbiev holds both the WBC and IBF titles. He entered the year as the unified champion, but I had him slightly behind Dimitri Bivol. You know, he was riding the strength of, he was riding the strength of the win over Alexander Votzik. But when Joe Smith had the year that he had, that only raised the stock of Dimitri Bivol, who really whipped Joe Smith's ass back in March of 2019. So that raised the stock of Bivol just slightly ahead of Beterbiev. And Beterbiev had something to prove in 2021 as the top spot was up for grabs. He didn't fight in 2020. He hadn't fought since he stopped Votzik in their unification bout in October of 2019. So when he finally returned in March, it was nearly a year and a half off for Beterbiev, as he would take on Adam Dines in an IBF mandatory defense. Dines, you know, wasn't bad, but he just couldn't keep up with Beterbiev, who just sat there and grinded out, broke him down. Wasn't his best performance, but he just beat up Adam Dines, continued to pound him, pressured him, and finally stopped him in the 10th round as he retained his unified title. Beterbiev was trying, after that win, he was trying to secure, you know, a bigger fight. And he was waiting around and waiting around. Finally, the WBC ordered Beterbiev to make a mandatory defense of their title against Marcus Brown, who was a solid contender for Beterbiev. A lot of people were looking forward to that fight, myself included. So in December, Beterbiev would face off against Marcus Brown, and I called it at the time. I said a very good performance over Marcus Brown, who's a legitimate top 10 light heavyweight, will put him back ahead of Dimitri Bivol, who, you know, in all honesty, very good fighter, but had two kind of workman-like decision wins against guys that were out of the top 10. He wasn't at his best this year. And, you know, Beterbiev looked fantastic against Marcus Brown. So he had to have that kind of performance, and he did. He went out there early on. It seemed like he was getting outboxed a little bit in the first couple rounds, and then a bad clash of heads opened up a terrible cut on Beterbiev's forehead, and he started bleeding a lot. It was so bad that people knew that the fight could be stopped at any moment and go to the cards for a technical decision, where if it was the 4th or 5th round, Marcus Brown might be your new unified champion. So Beterbiev went out there. Luckily, the cut wasn't getting in his eyes too much, but he went out there with a face red, full of blood, and he went after Marcus Brown and broke him down, and eventually knocked him down, I believe, in the 8th round, and then in the 9th round, he finished him off as Brown went down to one knee and did not make it to the count of 10 as he was counted out, and Artur Beterbiev retained his unified light heavyweight title again by knocking him out. So now Beterbiev enters 2022 hot and wants to get a big fight. And he's also part of the Canelo sweepstakes. Now his stat line real quick is a very good one. Last year he was #2, he moves to #1. He's 36 years old now, but he's a young 36 because, remember, Beterbiev has only been a pro for a set amount of time. He's only had 17 pro fights, but he's 17-0 with 17 knockouts. This dude is coming to knock you out at some point, and he's unafraid, and he doesn't care what the score of the fight is. When that happens, he's coming after you, and he's trying to break you down and stop you. That's his goal. And, you know, Beterbiev heading into this year, I think there's a chance that he gets the Canelo fight. I do. But even better than that is, I truly believe a unification bout with Joe Smith Jr. is likely going to happen. Or with whomever the WBO champion is. Because right now, I believe Beterbiev's in optional mode. And with the governing bodies working together recently to make more unification bouts and to settle some of their mandatory situations, I don't believe that, I'm not sure if the WBO is going to order Joe Smith to fight Anthony Yard next. I believe there's a chance that the WBO and Joe DeGuardia, Joe Smith's co-promoter, agrees that the WBO could very well order Joe Smith and Artur Beterbiev to unify titles next. The winner of that fight is going to attract Canelo. I'm telling you right now, because Canelo does not want to win 3 fights to become undisputed. I think Canelo would like maybe do 2. Maybe go after Dimitri Bivol or go after Artur Beterbiev and then fight Bivol for the undisputed title. But I really believe that Canelo does not want to have to work so hard to get to undisputed. He'd rather just go after the top 2 dogs, especially if they're not going to have huge money-making names, which, let's be honest, Joe Smith, Dimitri Bivol, or Artur Beterbiev don't have that. So Canelo really is going to, if these guys are going to unify belts while Canelo fights at super middle or moves up to cruiserweight, I think there's a very good chance Beterbiev gets what's his name in the ring, gets Joe Smith in the ring in a unification bout. And if he can, I say he makes a mandatory of one of his 2 belts. The IBF is likely going to enforce a mandatory at some point because he fought Adam Dines in March of last year. The WBC has named Callum Smith his #1 contender now. If he wanted to get that out of the way, I think Callum Smith would be down to fight. So Beterbiev does have options, but he also wants to stay in line for Canelo. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if he were to get a Canelo fight this year. And I think adding another world title is only going to make the chances of that stronger. And, you know, it's either that or he unifies belts or he dominates this year and sets himself up at the end of the year for maybe fighting Canelo in May of 2023. You never know. So, got to wait and see what happens. But that's what I got for my 2021 year-end top 10s as I finish up the light heavyweight division with my #1 light heavyweight in the world right now at 175 pounds. The undefeated and reigning unified champion, Artur Beterbiev. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.